You can see in the scene now I've added a omni light and a target light, or a directional light, so that I can just see what the object looks like a little bit better. We're going to need that for the specular map. I'll hop over here to Photoshop, and here's my map that I made in the last tutorial. And I'm going to convert this to something that'll work for a specular map. First, what I'm going to do is adjust the saturation under Adjustment, Saturation. I'm going to desaturate this. We really don't need the color information. I'm going to bump the lightness up on it. Then I'm going to go to Brightness, Contrast, and I'm going to brighten the contrast up quite a bit. And the brightness. And what I'm looking for is starting to get some darks and lights built into this. Now this alone isn't going to work. What I'm going to need to do is get rid of some of the shadowing here, and I'm going to do that just by marking out some of these shadows. That'll work. We'll drop the fill amount down just so that they kind of blend a little bit better. I'm going to go to a new layer. I like to put a solid gray layer on top of this and then adjust the fill amount so that I can see through it. And that's going to give me some detail for my specular map, but the rest I'm going to draw in here. And I'm going to go ahead and put some white highlights here. Actually, let's get in a different layer, new layer. Some white highlights right where the edges of those beveled sections are. I'm also going to put a white highlight around the top there. I think that'll work all right. And I'm going to go ahead and put a white highlight down here around this cap piece. We're going to put this on color dodge, and then we're going to drop this down a little bit on the fill, because we don't want it to be so bright that it overpowers everything. And I think that's looking pretty good for our needs. I'm going to go ahead and put some black in a new layer. And I'm going to get my fuzzy brush bumped up here. We're just going to spray this black along the bottom. And we'll drop the fill amount down on that so that it's a little bit darker on the bottom again. We'll erase out all this right here so that it does interfere. And now again I'm going to do Control A, Control Shift C, Control Shift V to make a copy overall here of all my layers. And I'm going to bump the contrast up a little bit so that we have some contrast. There we go. I think that's going to make a pretty good specular map. The only thing I'm going to change is I don't particularly like this coloring right here, so I'm going to dull that down. The specular highlights up here are going to be a little bit bright, so I'm just going to dull those down to match the rest of the map, and I think that will work. I'm going to go ahead and save this. This is going to be the specular. We'll flatten it. Save it as a target. There we go. We'll hop back over to Max, and we'll apply that particular map in our specular level channel. And now when we render this, we should see a little bit of a difference. And you can see now that it's a little bit shinier in certain parts. Stands out a little bit better. That top piece right now is looking a little bit too bright, and that's coming from my diffuse map. So what I'm going to do is open that. That's up here. And I think what I'm going to do is just, I could get into my my Photoshop file, but I think I'm just going to drag this over it. There we go. We'll save that. And let's see what we got. Oops. Our diffuse map disappeared. There we go. Okay. And now that top piece is a little bit more calmed down, so it matches the rest of the prop a little bit better than it did. But you can adjust both maps and kind of play with how you want that